Hello and welcome to the first episode of a brand new series here on Irish TV called Entertainment Ireland, where we have a great show lined up for you tonight. Later on, a lady who has been described as the soul of Ireland with a sacred voice, the wonderful Dolores Keane, will be joining us. Later on, of course, we'll have the man, the Cork man, who brought some of the biggest names in the music world to Ireland over the years, including Frank Sinatra, Glenn Campbell, Don McLean, Michael Jackson, a whole host of stars. But first, as a way of introduction to my first guest, take a look at this.
How would I describe Richard Harris?
Rugby player.
Actor. Limerick man.
Gifted.
Monster man.
A legend.
Well, I'm sure you recognise some of those famous faces on that film clip, paying tribute to the late great Irish actor Richard Harris. Well, the Richard Harris Film Festival takes place in Limerick City every year in October. And here to tell us more about the festival is the creative director, is Elenor McSherry. Elenor, you're very welcome to the programme.
Thank you.
That's a great promotional clip, isn't it, for the film festival?
Yeah, we were very lucky. We just put the call out to the actors and rugby players in Limerick to see if they would come on board and help us out, and it was well worth it in the end. We're very happy with it.
Now, how did you become involved with the festival?
Well, it was more how I really couldn't not become involved with the festival.
It was a family connection, wasn't it?
Yeah, my mother hung around, as we say, with the Harrises when she was growing up. She lived near the Ennis Road in Limerick. And my grandfather was also an ear, nose and throat specialist in Limerick at the time. And Dickie Harris had a terrible habit of playing rugby and breaking his nose. So there was many a lunchtime where it was disrupted with a bleeding Dickie Harris at the door, wanting to get his nose fixed. So, and also Noel Harris and Dermot Harris came to my mother's 21st. So she wasn't really allowed to hang around with them because they were a bit wild, the Harrises, so they had a bit of a reputation. But no, and Rob Gill, who was involved with the gathering, decided to have the festival and asked me to be involved, and I said, yeah, no problem.
And many people would say it was long overdue recognition for one of Limerick's most famous actors.
Oh, it is. I'm surprised nothing has been done before. Now, there was a couple of small bits and pieces in pubs on the anniversary and things like that. But the Harris estate is very protective over his name. So it's, we went and we saw permission. And once we had permission to use his name, the family came straight on board and have been helping us ever since. So it was absolutely fantastic. And well,
we must mention, of course, there is a statue to Richard Harris in Limerick, and another one out in Kilkee, I think, isn't there?
Yeah, and Bedford Row is where the statue is in Limerick. And
in his famous Camelot.
In Camelot, yes.
Now, the man himself, now, I was surprised to learn that he never actually won an Oscar, but all the films he made, the movies he made, he was nominated twice for the first one, The Sporting Life, which was one of his first big pictures. And then The Field, he was nominated again, but he never got the Academy Award.
Yeah, I mean, neither did Peter O'Toole, if you think of it. Our Peter had said, something like, it's one of those things that if you don't get it, you don't get it, if you don't hold much stock in it. I think every actor, it's an aspiration, but I think if you spend your life trying to get something that's unattainable. But I mean, if with his body of work, it stands.
It's extraordinary, yes. And he's played alongside the biggest stars in Hollywood. I mean, Peter O'Toole, you mentioned there, Clint Eastwood there,
Marlon Brando, Charlton
Heston.
Heston,
yeah, every
Julie
one
Andrews,
of them. He was up there with on the A list as the
it's such a pity. But I think that he'll be remembered in Limerick as just being Dickie Harris.
Yes, and of course his sporting association with him. He was a great sportsman, wasn't he? A sportsman as well.
Oh, a very huge Munster rugby team supporter, and that's why we have involved with us is Peter Clohessy and Mick Galway, and they've been very supportive, helping us out with the festival. I mean, he loved rugby, but rugby loved him as well.
Now, of course, in the latter years, he got involved with the Harry Potter films, which
Yes.
gave him a whole new lease of life, didn't it?
Yeah, Harry Potter really brought it back. Now we're going through another golden age of TV with special effects and everything, and a new audience will know him, and hopefully maybe down the line we'll be able to show some of the Harry Potter movies. They're very hard to get a hold of.
Yes.
They're very well protected, but hopefully.
Now, we have some photographs up here on the screen. The first photograph there, and the
Yeah.
people in this as well, Jerry Stembridge is
Jerry
in it.
Stembridge, and that's our team there. Des Moore's son, Zeb, myself, Jerry Stembridge, and Rob Gill. We're the team. That was at our programme launch, and we wanted an icon and an icon, so we put Richard Harris's face onto King John's Castle in Limerick. But it was fantastic on the night.
And the next one, of course, is Richard's son. He's three
Yeah,
sons.
3 sons.
He's an acting.
Damon is
Damon.
a film producer, director, and Jared is an actor, very successful actor, and Jamie's also an actor, and he's making his way as well.
Wonderful. And the third photograph here?
Is Damon Harris, Ella Harris, who's Richard's granddaughter, Bill O'Reilly, who's a very, very close friend of Richard and Peter Clohessy.
Nice.
This was at the night of the gala evening. This was taken from last year's one. We showed Life's a Breeze. And it was fantastic because it was like a little bit of Hollywood. We'd red carpets, we'd
Lovely.
big spotlights, we'd acrobats and everything outside, with big umbrellas and big Hummers and everything. It was absolutely fantastic. It was bringing just a little bit of Hollywood to Limerick.
Now, the festival this year, it's, as I say, is going to be bigger and better. It's taking place in the October Bank Holiday weekend, isn't
Yes,
it? In the city
yes.
of Limerick. So what plans have you for this year now?
Well, this year we have a gala again on the Friday evening, and that'll be, we'll have our sponsors, we'll have whoever is in at the time. Like last year, Patrick Cassidy, who did the music for Calvary and who did the music for Superman, a composer from up this end of the country.
That's right, yes.
He just
talking
turned
about
up.
him, actually, yes.
He just turned up with his brother, which was absolutely fantastic. He heard it was on and couldn't miss it. And you just don't know. And Joe Jackson, who did he did the famous tapes of Richard Harris's interviews, he was there as well. He just turned up. So you don't know who's going to just appear. So that's the Friday night. The Saturday we have a children's competition in the morning, so you can do 3 minutes of any Richard Harris movie or a mishmash of all of them. And then we have a short film showcase. Richard Harris is very much pro-education and bringing on young film actors and people in the industry. So this is something that we're particularly proud of. It's only Irish shorts. This year we have a connection with the Newport Beach Film Festival in Orange County in America, which is a very prestigious festival. They have 52,000 people come to their festival from LA, in around that area. And that's going to be on this Saturday. And then that evening we'll have a feature film, which we haven't secured yet, and on the Sunday we'll have another feature as well. But this year's film for Richard Harris will be The Field.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah,
And the fun thing about it was he wasn't the first choice, actually, to play Bull McCabe in that movie. It was to go to Ray McNally.
Yes.
But Ray McNally sadly passed away, and it was offered then to Richard Harris.
Yes.
And of course he made such a magnificent
Well,
job.
it's fantastic. Jim Sheridan has been very helpful to us, and hopefully Jim will be able to be there now. He's also got an appointment in Texas the next day. So, but hopefully himself and Noel Pearson will be able to make it. It's the precarious thing about a film festival is the actors have to work and the producers have to work. So you'll have to hopefully
and
get.
it could be anywhere around the world.
But if they're around, they'll be there.
And are the people of Limerick rallying around the festival? Are they very
yes.
supportive of it and that?
Oh yeah, well we had fantastic publicity last year. I mean, we were on Hollywood.com last year. We're the only Irish festival to even get a mention on Hollywood.com, which obviously is the Harris name. The people of we had over 2,000 people who came in. We had an exhibition last year which had the stick from the field. We had the props guy from the field brought all of the props that he had. He had bits of farmland, I think, coming in as well. But it was absolutely fantastic. But people are, it's amazing how, like you said at the beginning, how people feel, oh, this should have been done before.
Yes.
And the people of Limerick are absolutely fantastic. But hopefully now in years to come, it's people are getting in contact with those big names who want to be involved. People are involved with Richard Harris, who's very much loved within the industry. So hopefully it will just go and get bigger and better.
Well, that's wonderful. And thanks very much, Ellen, for taking time out to join us on the programme here. We wish you every success with the festival. I've no doubt that'll be bigger and better than its inauguration last year. Excellent. And continued success with it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, time for some music now, folks. And an exciting new group from Dublin called the Carnival Brothers. And they have a fantastic video to go with this song. I hope you enjoyed. It's called The Sun Is Going to Shine. See you after the break.
You're the color in my dream, my shooting star and my moonbeam, the ocean to my lonely stream, the movie to my only scene. Say the word and we'll jump that midnight train. What's to lose when it's love we've got to gain? Because this time it looks like the sun is gonna shine. This time it feels like the stars are on our side.
Now, a feature on the programme every week will be taking a look at emerging and new Irish talent. And joining me in the studio, of course, will be Michael Fox, well-known broadcaster, singer, journalist. So lovely to have you on the programme, Michael.
Thanks, Henry. Good to be here.
Yeah. Now, as I said, we're taking a look at new Irish talent.
We are.
This week you have three ladies
I have,
for us.
yes.
First one's from County Galway.
She is. That's
Yes.
Aine Crehen. New to the country music scene and having a lot of success at the moment with a nice recording of an Emmylou Harris song, The Blue Kentucky Girl.
Yeah, she's a student, isn't she?
She's from Galway, but she's at college in Dublin.
Mm-hmm. And she's a fine musician as well. She plays the piano
She
and
does,
guitar.
and guitar, yes.
And she got her break in California, I believe.
Yeah, she was on holiday in San Diego and visited one or two Irish bars, as you might do when you're on holiday.
Somebody advised her to...
Yeah.
get
And
up as a career.
she went up with the band, and one of the band people said, you know, you should follow this up and maybe have a career in country music. So with that thought in mind, when she came back to Ireland, she went to a recording studio and recorded the Blue Kentucky Girl. And there's been a nice response to it.
Well, we wish you well, Michael. And here she is, Aine Crehen from County Galway with her single, Blue Kentucky Girl.
You left me for the bright lights of the town. A country boy set out to see the world. Remember when those neon lights shine down? That big old moon shines on your Kentucky girl. I swear I love you by the moon above you. How bright is it shining in your world? Some morning when you wake up all alone, just come on home to your blue Kentucky girl. No need to bring great riches home to me. I need no diamond Just bring yourself, you're all I'll ever need. That's good enough for your blue Kentucky girl.
Well, we hope you enjoy that song there from Aine Crehen. Well, Michael, our next singer is from County Mayo, Olwyn Murray, very talented lady indeed. She's a pop song.
Olwyn Murray, her genre would be popular music, as you say. Been very involved in music from an early age, and in fact took part in musicals and other events. And
Yeah, she's been involved in talent shows and done extremely
she
well
has,
on them,
yes,
on television. and
She
everything,
has.
yeah.
At the age of 15, she appeared on The Late Late Show with an audience of over 1 million people.
And of course, then she's she went to Liverpool. She got didn't she Liverpool with
She
the Paul
did.
McCartney School of Music? In
That's
Liverpool.
right, the Institute of Performing Arts in Liverpool, and it's a place where a lot of people would like to get into. And she was one of 60 people that were accepted out of, I believe, thousands that actually applied for a place at the Institute. And she was very successful there. She got herself a BA honours in music. And
So music is going to be her career, really.
it looks like it.
Yeah.
And in fact, when she wasn't studying in Liverpool, she was actually getting involved with singers and songwriters and bands around the Liverpool
Great.
scene. So she's had a great experience.
Well, her new single now, and ask people to watch actually the video shoot of this, because it was done on Achill Island, and it's absolutely spectacular.
Yes.
The scenery is just gorgeous in
It is indeed,
kind
yeah.
of takes a little bit away from the song, but the
Yeah.
overall thing is good. The song is great. Isn't it an original song?
It is, as far as I know. It's called Falling in Love Again.
Well, here it is from Olwyn Murray.
It's never much, still I hold on hope. It's kind of silly to think he's gonna show someone to love me, someone to hold with care, a quiet voice to tell me don't be scared. I'm gonna get back up when you knock me down. Yeah, I'm gonna get back up when you knock me down. And I'm falling in love again with someone who can treat me right. And I'm tempted to hear you say that I want you and need you all night. You know it's a heartache. I just want to see you there. You know it's a heartache. Will I see you there? Will I see you there? This time around, the flame has sparked again. Even though you're not on the other end, I feel alive. I guess it's been a while. It makes me happy. Oh, it makes me smile. I'm gonna get back up when you knock me down. Yeah, I'm gonna get back up when you knock me down.
Now, finally, our next guest is from County Kildare.
She is Bernie Heane. Originally from, grew up in Coventry. Her parents come from Kildare and Dublin. Very much involved with music. Her father had his own band in the Coventry area. It was very popular. And
They
Bernie,
did a lot of Cayley and stuff. like that, didn't
very
they?
mixed, country and
okay.
Cayley. And Bernie moved back to County Kildare in her early 20s and went on the local scene there. Very recently issued her debut album. Fine album it is indeed, 12 tracks. It's entitled Dare to Dream. And
She's living the dream.
she's living the dream now, yeah.
Now, before you go, just remind you're here every week. We're taking
I
a
am.
look at new and emerging talent,
We are
as we
indeed,
said.
yes.
But can I remind viewers that if they feel they have a talent, if they're a singer, a dancer, if they're in a rock band, if they're making movies, whatever part of talent you have, just send in a CV to us here at Frame Studios in Claremorris in County Mayo. Now, if you have a DVD, it would be absolutely superb because we'd be able to see what kind of talent you have, and if it's good enough, we'll definitely feature it on the show. So you know the address, it's Frame Productions, Claremorris, County Mayo. Send in a biog and a DVD, and we'd love to hear from you. So thanks, Michael. Once again.
Thanks, Henry. Look forward to talking to you next week.
And to bring us up to the break, here is Bernie Heane with her song 18 Wheels and a Dozen Roses. Now, don't forget to see you after the break when you still to join us on the programme, the wonderful Dolores Keane and concert promoter Oliver Barry.
Charlie's gotta go watch. Don't seem like a whole lot. After 30 years of driving up and down the interstate. But Charlie's had a good life, and Charlie's got a good wife. And after tonight, she'll no longer be counting the days. 18 wheels and a dozen roses, 10 more miles on his 4-day run, a few more songs from the all-night radio. Then he'll spend the rest of his life with the one that he loves. He'll buy a Winnebago, set out to find America, do a lot of
Okay, folks, welcome back. Well, as a way of introduction to my next guest, as you know, Páirc Uí Chaoimh is the home of Cork GAA. And over the past 40 years, we've seen some and witnessed some fantastic football and hurling matches. Now, the stadium, of course, is undergoing a big redevelopment. The bulldozers have moved in, and when it's completed, it'll have seating for 60,000 fans, not only for sporting occasions, but for concerts as well. But the man who brought some of the biggest names from the music entertainment world to Cork during the 70s and 80s is my next guest, concert promoter Oliver Barry. Oliver, you're very welcome to the programme.
Thank you very much, Henry. It's great to be here.
Before we talk about the Páirc Uí Chaoimh and that, can I just ask, being a concert promoter, what do you think of the whole Gareth Brooks saga? Now that things have died down, what do you think, your own opinion now?
Well, obviously it's very disappointing for an awful lot of people. And I'm sure it's very disappointing for the promoter as well, too.
Where do you think the fault lies? Do you think Gareth should have done the 3 nights and maybe 2 matinees?
Well, you see, you want to know what goes on behind the scenes in these deals,
yeah.
so I don't really know. So I don't think it'd be fair to comment, but obviously it is an awful disappointment for a lot of people, and it hit huge. It was going to create a lot of revenue for Dublin and for the country. It is a shame that it happened.
Now, and of course, bring you back to your own days of, you brought some of the biggest musical acts to Páirc Uí Chaoimh over the years. Was the intention of those concerts, was it to raise funds for the time for Páirc Uí Chaoimh? Because it opened, the present stadium, as we know it, opened in 1976.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. So was that the whole idea behind the concerts?
Well, it was from the GA's point of view, but I had this idea in my head for a while to do an open-air concert in a stadium, because up until then, the open-air concerts were done in open venues like Listo and Varna. And I felt this, and Slane indeed. I thought the stadium, because of the facilities, the basic facilities that were there, were much better than the facilities they had in an open field set.
Right. And you approached the GA, they were quite happy to go, but there was a financial gain for them, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. So who was the first big act you brought at the Páirc Uí Chaoimh?
Well, the first act that I had in Shimsa Coshley was an act from France called Alain Stivel. He was a Breton harpist, and he was quite popular in Ireland at the time. And he was the first act that we had. That was in 1977.
And would he have, of course, that was Shimsa Coshley.
Shimsa
There was
Coshley.
2 aspects to the promotion there, wasn't there? There was the one-off big concerts there, which we're going to talk about, the Michael Jacksons and the Oasis and all
They
that.
came subsequently.
Yeah, but the Shimsa Coshley was the main.
That was the first one, yeah.
Yes, and that ran for about 10 years.
Yeah,
very
we had it.
successfully.
The format for Shimsa Coshley was one international star, a middle of the road type of act. Stavell was perfect because he was Breton roots and Celtic and all that, and that he fitted the bill perfectly. And then we had the big Irish acts at the time. They were also, you know, big attractions at that time. Wolftones, for example, I was managing them at the time. They were a huge attraction. And the Dubliners played there, Stockton's Wing, the Chieftains played there, all the big acts played there. Bagatelle played there.
Right.
So
And
all
of course, you
Christy Moore played there.
Yeah, you brought the likes of Chris Christopherson, John Denver, Glenn
Yeah,
Campbell.
that's
then.
what. Yeah,
They topped the bill at those
we had a
shows.
headliner every year. Then
Yeah.
we had some very good headliners, as you say. We had John Denver, Chris Christopherson, Joan Baez, Rita Coolidge, Leo Sayre.
So when did the first big one come then? Not Shimsha Kushli now, the separate concerts, big concert. Who was the first big one?
U2.
Was it U2, yeah.
U2, they were massive at the time.
Yeah.
And I haunted them and haunted Paul McGuinness, but eventually they had a strong association with Cork.
How so? Like, what was
Because they played, when they were starting, they played a lot of venues in Cork City, and they were attached to Cork. And in all fairness to the guys, they agreed to play Cork, and it was a huge success. They played it twice for me. Jamaican was involved at the time as well.
So they were guaranteed sellouts.
They were big concerts, yeah.
yeah.
They had sold out Croke Park at that stage, and after subsequent to Croke Park, then they came to Cork about a month or two later.
So Michael Jackson then did 2 nights for you. How did that come about? I would imagine it would be very difficult to bring a star like that to Ireland. I mean, he was the biggest pop star on the planet in the 80s.
Yeah, he was, but he was on a world tour, and I knew he was going to come to Ireland, so I pitched for him, and I made a number of visits to Los Angeles, and eventually I signed a contract with him.
Was it difficult to deal with?
No, they were very
His
straightforward. Once they got their money, they were happy enough to deal. A bit of convincing to talk them into Cork versus Dublin. At that stage,
And did you know you were going to do 2 nights? Was that always in the agreement from day
No,
one?
no. We had one and an option for a second.
Right, okay.
We put one on sale, and that sold out in record time. We put the second one on sale about a week later, from memory.
And did he have any special demands when he was coming to Ireland?
No, I mean, he was the biggest act in the planet, as you say.
We have a photograph of him here that you kindly brought on. Here he is on stage in Porky Creek.
Yeah.
I was down at it, actually. It was a spectacular show.
It was, yeah.
He was a great showman. And the dance routine, of course, Thriller, the album, was huge.
That was massive at the
you
time,
see.
yeah.
Absolutely big.
He was in his prime then. And
he was fantastic.
He created a fantastic atmosphere in Cork for a couple of days.
Yeah.
It was,
And everybody was trying to figure out where he was staying.
that's right. There was a lot of that about him, yeah. There was a lot of hype.
So when you get somebody big like that, I mean, where do you go then looking for an act then to equal Michael Jackson?
Well, you see, once an act like Michael Jackson, once you can land someone like him, it opens the door then for other acts.
And who's the next biggest then after that?
Well, the following year I brought in the ultimate event with Frank Sinatra and
Yeah, I'm going to come
Sandy
to that here
Davis,
because we photographs here. But you moved to Dublin for that, didn't you?
yeah, but I was in Dublin. I mean, I've been in Dublin since the early 60s.
Yeah, but the Sinatra, we're going away from Porky Creeve now.
We are, yeah.
And then we're coming to the Sinatra gig. And we've photographed here Liza Minnelli, Frank Sinatra. Originally you intended to get the Rat Pack, wasn't it, for that show in Lansdowne?
It was
Dino would have
Dino,
been it.
Dino, the
Dean
three,
Martin,
yeah, the 3 of them, yeah. Dino, there was some I don't know,
Problem, he didn't
some
want
problem. He was on the ultimate event, but then he was replaced with Liza Minnelli.
Right, okay. So the other guys wanted to do the show on that.
They were on tour. They were doing a European tour at the time, but it was the only open air shows they did in Europe at that time.
Right. And as it's called the Aviva Stadium now,
That's
but
right.
it was the old Lansdowne Road.
That was the first concert in Lansdowne.
Yes. Yeah. How did that go? It must have been quite a spectacular.
It was spectacular, yeah. It was spectacular. I remember it was a very expensive ticket at the time because it had to be to keep Mr. Sinatra happy.
Right.
But it was a big success because it was his first time here. And it was a lot of people would still talk about it as being one of the great concerts, you know.
And what about the man himself? Did he enjoy Ireland or?
Oh, he did. He was in. I remember he spent a couple of days here, and Ascot races were on at the time, and they were staying at the Barclay Court Hotel in the Penthouse, and I know that there was a lot of action during the day with the bookmakers. And then he performed at night time. He did 2 fantastic concerts.
Yeah. And did he stay on afterwards for a couple of days? Or
Funnily enough, he didn't. You know, he didn't. Yeah. The other 2 did, but Sinatra had to do some big corporate gig 2 nights later in Memphis or somewhere, and he had to fly out immediately after the concert in Lansdowne, which I thought was sad, but I think it was a necessity at the time for financial reasons, maybe.
Okay. But he was making huge money, though, at the time.
Oh,
wasn't
big
he?
money, yeah.
Yeah. Now, what about some of the other acts then that you brought in? James Last, tell me about James Last. He did a fantastic show, and they did an album of it called James Last at the Rose of Tralee, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a big fellow, yeah.
Yeah,
But
he was a
middle of the road.
huge star.
He was at the time, yeah. I brought him the first time I brought him and played him in the Carlton Cinema in
Dublin.
In Dublin, yes, a 2,000-seater. But I had him for about maybe 12 or 15 years, and he was a great attraction at the time. Played him in Belfast and played him in Tralee twice, and he did a big open-air concert in College Green in Dublin. That was a huge success at the time.
And he's still touring, isn't he? He's still doing some work, I think.
Oh, he does a little bit
Yeah,
still.
so-
I haven't been in touch with him.
Of all the big acts, who would have been your own particular favourite to work with?
Personally,
Yes.
Don McLean was a guy that I was very fond of. He was a lovely guy to be with, and he was a fantastic entertainer as well.
And Oliver, you're not totally out of the business. Some people seen you now on TV and say, "Gosh, I haven't heard of that man in a long time. What's he doing now?" What are you doing now, Oliver?
Well, now I'm living in Dublin. I'm running a golf course, Hollystown Golf Club, just outside Dublin.
But you still have a share in organising concerts in the Aviva Stadium.
Yeah, I'm
don't you?
still involved with
And do
MCD.
we hear some rumours of something happening next year? Is something we can look forward to?
We would. Well, you hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it comes to Aviva, it has to be a big attraction. Otherwise, you're only wasting your time.
No mention of names yet?
Not yet. No.
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 Well, we look
We're
forward.
chasing.
You're chasing. Well, we look
Yeah.
forward to that, Oliver,
Yeah.
in the not too distant future for a big announcement for Aviva.
Yeah.
And lovely to see you, and continued success. And
Yeah,
it's
thanks, Emily.
wonderful to
Nice
talk
meeting
and
you.
down memory lane. So many people have great memories of some of the big shows that you just mentioned,
Yeah.
both in Porky Creve and, of course, in Dublin as well. Well, that's the end of part 3, folks. Don't forget to join us after the break when I'll be joined with my very special guest, the one and only, the wonderful, lovely Dolores Keane. Welcome back. Well, my final guest, Nancy Griffith, the American country star, described her as the soul of Ireland with a sacred voice. What a way to welcome somebody. Dolores Keane, you're very welcome to the program.
Thank you very much indeed.
You're enjoying great success at the moment. Your concerts are selling out all over the country.
Yeah.
You're a superstar at the moment.
I'm a superstar. Yeah.
Isn't it wonderful? Tell me, people are coming along in their droves to see you. I suppose it's been so long since they've seen you in concert.
Yeah.
What do you put it down to? Is it?
Well, I haven't been singing really in so long. It wasn't a decision that came easily. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and so that took up a lot of my time.
You were you'd given up the business, really, hadn't you?
I
at that
had, yeah,
stage?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, I got given it up into. I let it go too far, I think, before I did give it up, because I ended up where I couldn't bear the sound of my own voice, you know, on a
But the voice was
recording
still
or
there, though.
anything. It was still there, but I just, you know, my heart and my soul wasn't there. And to be quite honest, I didn't have the energy, you know, because of the alcohol. I mean, it just took
over your
all.
life.
It just took all that away,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. But it must be wonderful to be back and be getting standing ovations, and the people still admire your wonderful voice. and
It's
your wonderful
fabulous,
singing,
yeah.
But
Yeah.
does it put a pressure on you, Dolores, the fact that you're the show, you're carrying the show? It's not like the old days when when you were playing with the Dannon and Women's Heart.
Yeah.
You're the star of the show. Does that put enormous pressure on you?
No, well, I'd have been used to that anyway, because when I was working with John Faulkner, I mean, we were the main act of the show, we'll say. But then when John and I split up, I had my own band as well. And so it's no different really than then, you know.
And I believe you're going back into the recording studios.
Yes.
Long overdue.
Yes, long overdue. Yeah, yeah.
And have you some? Is it going to be difficult to get songs that you sing? For
No, because it's like singers in Ireland. I mean, we've got great
talent.
songwriters.
Yeah.
There was a few years back, and I was going into the studio with John McColgan and Marine. Moy Darty.
Yes.
Sorry.
From Riverdance fame.
Yes, and they were doing a Christmas, like a family Christmas show. And of course, all the families that were chosen were all musical or came from a musical background. So the lot of them are my two aunts, Rita and Sarah, and Sean and myself. We were the four for that section. And I didn't know what song to sing, I said, well, we need a Christmassy song, obviously. So I phoned Tommy Sands. And I said, Tommy, could you please write me one of your versions of a Christmas song? And he did, and it was in the post like 2 weeks later, or maybe even a shorter length of
Can
time.
you remember the song?
Like The First Time Is Christmas Time.
Lovely.
Yeah. It's a lovely song.
So Dolores, you mentioned alcohol. You're recovering from it. Disappointed you didn't get your license back. You still have to wait another while for it.
Yeah. Another
It's-
while,
it's-
but
it's
never
coming,
mind.
it's
It's in
coming.
the
Yeah,
offering, as they say.
Yes, it's in the offering. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a big loss to you not being able to drive.
Oh,
isn't it?
it's desperate. It really
because
is.
you have other needs then, and
Yeah.
I know you've got the all clear from the breast cancer, which is fantastic.
Yes,
news.
yeah.
And a lot of people looking in now would see this lovely swallow you have.
Yes, yeah.
The nice tattoo there. Will you
Yeah.
explain the reason for that?
Well, it's carrying the little feather, or the ribbon, rather, and I think it should be a hummingbird, but I like the swallow because I like the seasons, and I love to see the swallows coming, but I like to see them collecting on the wires when they're going off to their foreign climes as well.
You're a country girl at heart.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, going back over the years, your big break came with the Dannon, of course, with Rambling Irishman. which is
Yeah,
a
that's
wonderful
right,
song,
yeah.
And you went on then, you left the Dannon, and yourself and you said your husband then, John Faulkner, you went to England, but you were also involved in drama, the BBC and stuff like that, weren't you?
Well, I was doing research for the BBC for documentaries and involved in the music end of things. But it was brilliant. It was a great experience.
The plays, weren't you in the play with Neil Tobin?
Absolutely, yeah,
Yes.
that's what I was getting
Yeah.
at. Yes, I didn't do any acting in England. I was working for the Beeb, and when I came back to Ireland, the director, Michael Scott, phoned me and asked me if I would take on the part. And I said, well, why not? I'd give it a try. But he was a long time at me before I did agree to do it, because
And you enjoy that?
it was my first time,
Yeah.
And then being with Neil Tobin as well, who's one of our finest actors.
Absolutely, yeah.
Great man.
And then along came The Woman's Heart Tour. That was
Yeah.
absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, it was incredible, yeah.
Did you enjoy that?
I loved it, yeah. I mean, the camaraderie backstage and the fun that we had was something else. And people used to be under the impression that we'd be like tearing each other's eyes out. But it was totally the opposite. We were just such good friends, and I think we all cried when it was over,
Dolores, of all the songs, like people go to hear you because of the wonderful songs you've recorded, like Caledonia and of course Dear Old Galway Bay
Yeah.
and Lying in the Cage, which I didn't realise that John Faulkner, your former partner, wrote the song.
Yes.
With Nelson Mandela, which is a wonderful song.
It is a great song. It's
Yeah.
a great song.
And of all the songs, which when you were on stage and that, which is the one that gets the biggest reception?
Well, the one that gets the biggest reception, of course, would be Caledonia. And that was written by a great friend of mine, Dougie McLean, from Scotland. And the other one would be Galway Bay, which was, God rest him, he was a dear friend of mine, Tony Small.
He sadly passed away there, didn't
yeah,
he? Yes,
yeah.
Well known in traditional music.
Oh, he
circles.
was, yeah, and a great writer. And it was he that sung the song. Well, I heard him singing it one night in the Crehen bar in Galway. And I said, God, I have to get that song. And he said, it's yours, you want it. And I remember we actually recorded it in the States. We were over there on tour. And we used to do, well, we'll say the festivals and then concerts during the week, you know. But anyway, we had a few weeks and we decided to go into the studio and record Galway Bay.
And next thing became a huge
Yeah.
hit for you, both
Yeah.
sides of the Atlantic.
Yes,
and that,
yeah, it did.
Yeah. Now, getting back to concerts, I said you've done sell-out concerts now all during the summer here. You've sold out the Olympia in Dublin, which
Yes,
is absolutely
yeah.
fantastic. Were you nervous at that particular show? Because that was your
Well,
first really
I was
comeback.
nervous at that one because it was the first one.
Yeah, this was going to say,
You
yeah,
know?
yes.
Yeah,
But you got a standing ovation.
I did, yeah.
And then you did 3 nights, on your third night in Galway there, almost 3 nights, Westport sold out, every venue in the country.
Yeah.
Is there plans now to go further afield now? Would you be up to going further afield now to, say, North of Ireland to England, Scotland, places like that?
Oh,
touring?
yeah. I'd love to go back to the States as well and Canada. You know, I miss that. I'm getting itchy feet now.
Yes,
You know.
yes.
Yeah.
So what about your own personal life now, Dolores? Is there a man in your life now? Or?
No, there isn't. No, I'm just waiting for the
Mr. Right to come.
Right, you know.
Well, what, I presume it'd be somebody in the music business, would it?
Well, if he was as good looking as you now, I'll tell you. And I wouldn't
Thanks,
say
Dolores.
no.
Now, the plans for the future now.
Do you see how fast you got away from that now?
You talked about
You have to take a compliment.
Thank you. But you've distracted me now. Getting back to the album, that's in the pipeline now, and you're getting material for that.
Yeah.
What else is coming up then, apart from that? You've more concerts coming. You're doing a lot of repeat concerts as well, aren't you, around the country, because such is the demand for that. Kieran Kavanagh Promotions there looking after.
That's
all
right,
your-
Kieran Kavanagh. I'm back with Kieran again.
Yes.
His hair has gone grey now, and he says, "This is what Dolores Keane did to me. When I started working with Dolores, I was black. I was good looking, you know, a bit of condition on, but look at me now. I'm thin. I'm grey."
And Dolores,
He's a lovely, lovely man.
he is. He's
Yeah.
doing very well with your tours
Yeah.
and that. Now, regrets in life. I know the drink was a problem in that
Yeah.
for you, and thankfully you've come out of that now.
Yeah.
And hopefully it'll stay that way.
Yeah.
You've got great news in relation to breast cancer, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And what are the other regrets in life, Dolores? I mean, do you think that you wasted so many years not performing, giving people seeing you perform and
No,
and hear you
I
singing?
don't regret that, because I think everything happens for a reason. And
I know you're a superstitious type person, are you?
superstitious, no. Well,
Are you a religious
I
person?
wouldn't walk under a ladder.
Right. Would you be a religious person?
Yes. Yeah. I'm religious in the fact that, well, I have an altar at home, and my altar consists of a crucifix, a Buddha, I don't know, there's a Chinese fella there. We didn't find a name for him yet.
And are you trying to figure out which is the real
No, I
religion?
think they all have a place there.
Right.
They all have a place there. It's the way that I've always gone through life. I've never had any, any kind of peers kind of saying, did you say your prayers? Didn't you say your prayers? Or who did you pray to? There was nothing like that. I mean, you pray, I think, is what you're doing. I think prayer is a wish and a hope that, what you're praying for will come true.
Right. And what would your biggest wish in life be now, Dolores?
Just health and happiness. health and happiness.
And they're abound at the moment.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
okay.
And
Now,
from
of
my
all the
family.
songs that you've recorded, you mentioned there, we mentioned Caledonia.
Yeah.
So, because it's the most requested. Can I just ask before we finish as well, is it all singing you do on stage, Dolores, now? Do you tell some stories or poems or anything like that? Really?
Oh, I'm all the time blathering along.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell stories. Well, the stage is mine, and sometimes I can chat on.
Are you a good storyteller?
I am.
Have you a little story for us?
Now, a little story for you. God, I don't know now.
We'll pause
If
on
I
that.
didn't have to tell a story now, I would. But you know the way that it
Of
just
course, yeah.
it's a
just-
spontaneous
yeah,
thing.
Yes, yeah. And
you
you
know.
interact with the audience and all that.
Yeah.
Finally, can I ask you, will we ever see the day when all the Keane family, I mean, there's such a wonderful musical family, they're from
Yeah.
the west of Ireland, from Carnival,
Yeah.
all famous in their own rights as
Yeah.
well. But will we ever see the day when the whole Keane family will take to the road, take to the stage, a concert tour of Ireland? Because you're selling out now, but I
Yeah.
can imagine, as Oliver Barry said earlier on, this would be the ultimate event for traditional music lovers and folk
Yes,
singers.
yeah,
and that,
it
you
would
know?
be, yeah.
Could you see that happening? anytime?
Well, if we could get all the Keanes in the one room without some of them losing some of them after about 15 or 20 minutes,
Yes.
it could be possible.
Yes.
I
Would you,
think
would you like to see it happen?
I would, I'd love it. Because my two sisters are great singers, you know, but they rarely sing.
Yes, and of course
But,
we know the brothers, of course.
yeah.
They're well-known singers,
Yeah.
Mass and Sean and Michael
Yeah,
and
Pat and
Baz
Noel,
them,
yeah.
Noel.
Yeah.
So it's something that might happen. In the
It might happen. It might very well do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we look
We
forward
might
to that.
do something maybe around the Christmas time
Christmas
or something
special,
like that, yeah.
That would be nice. you know.
It would be lovely, yeah.
So you're all set now for the driver's license back.
Yes.
And you go at hell for leather on the roads. And what do you do, Dolores, when you're to unwind and that from the shows?
Oh, I love pottering around the garden. Well, I say pottering, I've got a very big garden. So when I work at the front, the back is always waiting, you know. But I do love the outdoors. And it doesn't matter whether it's raining or not.
Okay.
I like it even more than because I can wear my comfy wellies.
Right. You just
Yeah.
like the old clothes, rags and that. Just
Oh,
like
yeah,
tossing
yeah,
around,
yeah, yeah.
tossing around the garden
Yeah,
and that.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. And I like cooking. I
Yeah,
love
you cook,
cooking.
are
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
What's your favourite type of cooking?
I like cooking Indian.
And I would have thought now you'd be the traditional brown bread.
Yeah.
Making the
Oh,
brown
I'm no
bread
good
and all
at bread.
that, or baking
Don't
cabbage.
ask me to go near bread. No, no. There'd be more flour on me and on the floor and around the bowl than there would be in it. You know?
So you stay away from
I
that.
stay away from that.
All right.
Yeah.
If there was somebody you were asked to sing with, duet with, some famous, who would that be?
Off the top of my head, Willie Nelson.
He's still around, and he's duetted with them all. And you've been great friends with a lot of the Nashville stars.
Yeah,
As well. You knew
yeah.
Harris, Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
And you worked with, you sang with them.
Yeah.
And all of that. But Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we put a request in for him to sing?
Yes.
Yes. And I presume it would
We'll
be
have to.
a country type song, would it?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
you'd have no
well
problem.
into country, yeah.
Yeah, you like
yeah.
the country as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah.
Wouldn't that be something now?
The one thing that I'd like to say before we finish up is that, you know, the whole thing about putting music in boxes.
Categories, yes.
You know, in pigeonholes. Now, they do that an awful lot in the States, and I couldn't understand that. And my manager, back years ago, and thank God he's gone. I mean, he's gone to England. Yeah, he hasn't died, I think.
I'm sure he's relieved to hear that.
But, yeah.
We won't mention any
We
names
won't,
anyway.
no.
No.
But when I was growing up, I was listening to Slim Whitman, you know, Take Me Back to My Boots and Saddles and all these kind of things on a wind-up microphone.
Gramophone, yes.
Gramophone,
Yes.
yeah. And it could be anything, any kind of music at all. Music was music,
Good music is always good as
Yeah,
long as it's
exactly.
done right.
Yeah,
and performed
exactly.
right and
Yeah,
sang right.
yeah,
And that's what
yeah.
and you're the epitome of all of that, Dolores. You're
Well,
the most
thank
wonderful
you.
singers we have in Ireland. And long may you continue singing and enthralling audiences, not just here in Ireland, but all over the world.
Thank you very
and
much.
we look forward immensely to the new album when it comes out. And we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for joining us on the programme.
Thank you very
Dolores.
much indeed. Thank you.
Well, that's our programme for today. We hope you enjoyed our guests. We'll be back next week at the same time. Among our guests will be Tommy Fleming, and you'd love this one, Dolores. The matchmaker, Willie Daly, will be joining us on the programme next week. So
Oh,
we're
that'd
talking
be
about a man
lovely.
there. We might get you down to say hello to him and that.
Oh, that'd be great.
All right. So until next week, Slán go fóill. Thank you for joining us. Bye for now.
It's far away I am today from scenes I owned a boy. And long ago, the hour I know, I first saw Elenor. But time nor tide nor waters wide could wean my heart away. Forever true, it flies